Hi everyone, I'm back for another lesson of statistics and probability. For today's video, we are going to learn to formulate appropriate null and alternative hypothesis of population mean and proportion. Let's start. Let's begin by examining this figure. So let's say you have an experiment titled Effect of a Fertilizer on Plant Growth. In statistics, hypothesis testing is the process of using statistical tests to determine whether an observed difference between two or more samples is statistically significant or not. In a practical point of view, hypothesis testing allows you to collect samples and make decisions based on facts, not on how you feel or what you think is right. Just like in this experiment, you want to compare the effect of the fertilizer by having a controlled plants with fertilizer and without fertilizer. And all of your data or all of your assumptions will all based with facts. And to be able to prove your assumptions, you must state first the null and alternative hypothesis. So tandaan natin, a statistical hypothesis is a statement about your parameter and it deals with evaluating the value of your parameter. So in the statistical hypothesis testing, there are always two hypotheses. That is the null hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis. So here is the comparison between the two. I-review lang natin ito since na-introduce ko naman na ito sa inyo sa last na video natin. Again, ang null hypothesis, ang kanyang symbol is HO and alternative hypothesis is HA. Null hypothesis states that there is no difference between your population parameters and the hypothesized value. While yung alternative hypothesis natin, it states that the population parameter has some statistical significance with the hypothesized value. It can be smaller, greater, or different than. Okay? And there is no observed effect in null hypothesis, while in alternative hypothesis, there is an observed effect. And kung matatandaan ninyo, the null hypothesis is your initial claim that is based on previous analysis or previous data or specialized knowledge. While yung alternative hypothesis natin is what you might believe to be true and hope to prove true. Ayan. To state the null and alternative hypothesis correctly, you should first identify the parameter in a given problem. So, identify nyo kung ito ba ay population mean or population proportion. Second, you need to identify the claim to be tested that may show up in null or alternative hypothesis. Ayan. So, yung claim doon sa statement natin, it can be either null and alternative hypothesis. Hindi po siya palagi kapag sinabi natin claim, lagi siyang null. Hindi po. Either po doon sa dalawa na yun. Next, you have to translate the claim into mathematical symbols or notations. Yan. And lastly, you have to formulate first the null hypothesis, then the alternative hypothesis. Yung mga examples na situations natin mamaya, may mga given na claims na po sila that will describe either your null hypothesis or your alternative hypothesis. Siyempre, kung ano man yung hindi na ibigay or hindi given, yun po yung kailangan mo na lang na i-formulate based as a complement doon sa given na claim. We can formulate or write your alternative and null hypothesis in these three different ways. Ayan. Siyempre, either lang naman dito sa tatlong ito yung makukuha mong hypothesis. So, kung yung hypothesis mo has the symbol or notation of equal, siyempre kung equal po yan, yung alternative hypothesis mo is not equal. So, kabaliktaran niya. Gayun din, ito kung less than or equal na ang iyong symbol, ibig sabihin ng alternate mo is yung greater than. Ayan. Ganun din dito, kapag yung null hypothesis mo is greater than or equal, syempre, ang magiging alternative hypothesis mo is yung less than. Ayan. So, kung mapapansin niyo yung mga notations natin sa alternative hypothesis, it complements yung ating nasa null hypothesis. Ayan. So, laging yung kabaligtaran. Okay? Here are some hypothesis testing common phrases that you can use to describe the direction of your hypothesis. And kung makikita niyo yung common phrases ng equal is equal to, is the same as, is exactly the same as, has not changed from. Yan yung mga common phrases that can be translated dito sa symbol nito. So ito naman yung common phrases that can be translated naman dito sa symbol ng equal. is not equal to, is not the same, is different from, has changed from. Next na case natin, ayan, kapag greater than symbol. Ayan siya. So, is increased, is greater than, is higher than, is above, is bigger than, is longer than, is more than. Lahat ng yan can be translated with this symbol. Ngayon din dito, is decreased, is less than, is lower than, is below, is smaller than, is decreased or reduced from, is not more than. So, lahat po yan can be translated with the symbol na less than symbol. Next. Ayan. So, ito naman yung may equal signs. So, greater than or equal. Is greater than or equal to, is not less than, ayan, is not less than, is at least. Kapag naman ganito yung symbol, that is less than or equal to, is not more than, is at most. Ayan. So, yun yung mga common phrases na magagamit natin kapag nag-formulate tayo ng null and alternative hypothesis. Siyempre, sa mga research naman, hindi naman pwedeng symbol lang ang ilagay mo doon kasi hindi naman lahat nakakaintindi ng definition ng mga symbol na yun. So, kailangan mo talagang i-state ng buo yung inyong null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. So, ito yung mga common phrases na pwede mong gamitin. Okay? So, kung mapapansin nyo kanina, yung null hypothesis natin always has yung equal. Yan, yung mga equal na symbol. While yung ating alternative hypothesis never has itong mga equal symbol na to. So, either, pag tinanggal po natin yan less than now, kaya greater than now, alternative hypothesis na siya. And the choice of symbol depends on the wording of the hypothesis test. Kaya, maging maingat kayo sa mga words or phrases na gagamitin ninyo. And be aware as well that many researchers use yung equal sign in the null hypothesis. Kahit na po, greater than or less than yung symbol ng ating alternative hypothesis. And that is okay as long as it describes correctly yung initial thing. Let's have some example situations and then let's try to formulate its null and alternative hypothesis. Example number 1. The average height of all grade 11 students in senior high school is 169 cm. Is this claim true? And so, una po natin gagawin is to identify yung parameter natin, which is the average height of all grade 11 students in senior high school. And since may hint na tayo ditong all, at when we say average, that is the mean. So, ibig sabihin, population mean yung ating parameter. Since it is a population mean, ang gagamitin po natin notation ay ito, yung symbol na yan. So, next, siyempre, identify natin yung claim. So, ang claim po natin dito ay yung average height daw po is 169. So, or in symbol, that is ito. Population mean symbol is equal to 169. So, kung mapapansin ninyo yung ating claim, it is already considered as our null hypothesis. Bakit po? Kasi yun yung initial claim. At kung mapapansin nyo, ayan yung word, meron tayo, is 169. So, ibig sabihin, is equal to 169. Kaya, ang null hypothesis natin ay automatic na kung, yan, sulat natin, HO is mean equal to 169. And to formulate the alternative hypothesis, isusulat lang po natin yung complement or yung opposite ng null hypothesis natin, which is the average weight is not equal to 169 kg. Kaya, ang isusulat natin dito, HA, mean is not equal to 169. Ayan. So, yung opposite lang ng ating null hypothesis. Ganun lang. Again, yung ating null hypothesis ay yung mismong claim sa ating example number 1. Next. For example number 2, the average price per square meter of residential lot in an exclusive subdivision is above 15,000. A buyer wants to test the agent's claim. Yan. So, una, identify muna natin kung ano yung parameter. And kung makikita ninyo, ang parameter natin is average or mean. And ang tinutukoy po dito is the whole exclusive subdivision. So, it is population mean. At ang gagamitin po natin siyempre symbol is ito. Next, ano yung claim dito? Yung claim nila, yung average price daw per square meter ay above 15,000. So, in symbol, that is population mean greater than. Ayan, so above po yung ating ginamit na phrase dito. Kung mapapansin ninyo, meron siyang significant difference, which is greater than. Kaya ito po ay magpo-fall sa ating alternative hypothesis. Sulat natin, HA, mean is greater than. Since meron na tayong formulated na alternative hypothesis, kukunin na lang natin yung complement o yung opposite ng ating greater than. At yun yung magsisilbi nating null hypothesis. Siyempre, ang complement ng greater than is less than, di ba? Or equal. Laging tatandaan ninyo sa HO po natin o null hypothesis, laging may equal. Pero pwede rin naman po na isulat natin na yung mean is equal. Either po dyan sa dalawa. Okay. For third example, Holistic Fitness Center claims that their members reduced an average of 13 pounds after joining the center. An independent agency wanted to check this claim. They took a sample of 40 members and found that they reduced an average of 12 pounds with a standard deviation of 4 pounds. So determine the null and alternative hypothesis. So in this example, kung makikita ninyo, ang parameter is, yan, average na naman, ibig sabihin po, the population mean. Yan. Yung symbol na gagamitin po natin ay ito po rin, since population mean ang ating parameter. At ano po yung claim natin? So yung claim daw po, ayan, may term na dyan na hint na claim na dyan, na yung members daw nila reduced an average of 13 pounds. Ayan. So kapag reduced, so ibig sabihin, less than 30. Kapag less than po ang ating symbol, ayan, less than siya, ibig sabihin, magpo-fall po siya sa ating alternative hypothesis. Susulat po natin siya. Ang mean is less than 30. At para ma-formulate naman po natin yung ating null hypothesis, kukunin lang po natin yung complement. Another example, the treasurer of a municipality claims that the average net worth of families in the municipality is at least 730,000. A random sample of 50 families from this area produced a mean net worth of 860,000 with a standard deviation of 65,000. What are the null and alternative hypotheses? Yan. So, yung parameter po natin dito ay, of course, ayan, yung hint na po natin, average, yung population mean. And ito pa rin po yung symbol na gagamitin. So, ano namang claim dito? So, yung claim daw, ayan, claim na yung average net worth of families in the municipality is at least 730,000. So, ito po yung kanyang claim. In symbol, kapag sinabi natin at least, that is greater than or equal. At kapag greater than and equal, ito ay magpo-fall sa ating null hypothesis. Ayan. Kasi may equal siya, no? HO, ayan, mean is greater than or equal to 730,000. Ayan. So, ibig sabihin, yung ating alternative hypothesis ay less than. So, opposite lang po. Greater than yan, less than. 730,000. Okay? And bali dito sa problem na to, ang claim niya is a null hypothesis. Okay? Next tayo. So, example number 5. It has been claimed that 40% of students in a particular senior high school dislike mathematics. When a survey was conducted by a researcher, it showed that 145 of 800 students dislike mathematics. Test if the claim was different at level of significance 0.05. Ayan. So, ano yung parameter natin dito? Kung mapapansin ninyo, wala naman tayong given na mean dito or average. Ang meron po tayo ay proportion. So, ibig sabihin, ang ating parameter ay population proportion at yung gagamitin nating symbol ay itong small letter P. Yan. So, ang claim po nila na 40% of the students dislike mathematics. In symbol, that is proportion equal to 0.40. Ayan, equal. So, 40% ng estudyante. kung mapapansin nyo, since equal po siya, magpo-fall yung claim natin as null hypothesis. Ayan. HO P is equal to 0.40. Ayan. So again, ito yung claim natin. At to formulate yung ating alternative hypothesis, kunin lang natin yung complement ng ating null hypothesis. So that is population proportion not equal to 0.40. So kabaliktaran yun. Okay? Another example, a certain senior high school plans to open STEM, science and technology, engineering, and mathematics as an academic track only. If 60% of the students in their junior high school will enroll on the following academic year. A survey conducted among a random sample of students revealed that 450 out of 1,000 students will enroll. Is the expected enrollment significantly lower than the desired enrollment? Test at 0.05 level of significance. Ayan. So, yung ating population parameter dito, obviously, is population proportion na yan. Percentage, that is proportion. In symbol, that is small letter t. And yung claim natin dito is yung 60% of the student in their junior high school will enroll in the following academic year. So, in symbol, that is population proportion equal to 0.60. Ayan. Kung mapapansin niyo, yung symbol na naman po natin is equal. So, ibig sabihin, yung claim po natin ay magpo-fall sa ating null hypothesis. Ayan. So, HO is P equal to 0.60. Ayan. And to formulate our alternative hypothesis, kunin lang po natin yung complement ng ating null hypothesis. And that is P not equal to 0.60. Again, ito po yung ating claim. Okay. I think ito na yung last na example. It has been claimed that at least 40% of qualified applicants passed in a particular job interview. When a survey was conducted by a researcher of a certain company, it showed that 90 of 145 applicants passed the job interview. Test if the claim was true at 0.05 level of significance. Ayan. So, mga percentage na naman yan. So, ibig sabihin, ang ating parameter is a population proportion or in symbol is the small letter p. Ayan. So, yung claim daw natin dito is at least 40% of the qualified applicants passed in the job interview. So, in symbol, it can be written yung at least as greater than or equal. Kaya, population proportion is greater than or equal 0.40. Yan, kung mapapansin ninyo, magpo-fall pa rin po itong ating claim as the null hypothesis since meron siyang equal. Yan. So, ibig sabihin, ang null hypothesis natin ay population proportion greater than or equal to 0.40. And to formulate yung alternative hypothesis natin, kunin lang natin yung complement niya. Kung greater than yan, ibig sabihin, ang ating alternative hypothesis is less than 0.40. So, ganun lang siya kadali. Ayan, kung successful na po natin na na-formulate yung alternative hypothesis and null hypothesis, kaya na rin natin na-identify itong isa sa mga pinakamahalagang element din ng ating hypothesis testing, which is yung ating one-tailed test at yung two-tailed test. Ayan. Kung maalala niyo sa previous discussion natin, kapag sinabi natin one-tailed test, yung rejection region niya ay nasa isang tail lang, isang direction lang ng inyong distribution. It can be sa left direction or sa ating right direction. Pero kapag sinabi naman natin two-tailed test, magkabilaan po siya, non-directional siya. So magkabilaan yung ating rejection region. And so, yan siya kapag yung alternative hypothesis natin contains yung symbol na greater than, ayan, or yung less than symbols, so automatic, that is a one-tailed test. Pero kapag greater than po kasi siya, ito ay right-tailed. Pero kapag less than, ito po ay left-tailed. Yan na po siya. At syempre, two-tailed, kapag ang alternative hypothesis mo contains yung inequality na symbol. So, wala kasi siyang direction. Okay? So, tingnan po natin itong table na to. Ayan, sa population mean, ayan, kapag two-tailed test po siya, yung null hypothesis mo ninyo ay ganito. At yung alternative hypothesis ninyo ay ganito, not equal. Okay? And kapag right-tailed test naman po siya, ayan siya, ang inyong alternative hypothesis ay greater than. Ganun din kapag left-tailed test, ang inyong null hypothesis is less than. Ganun din po kapag population proportion siya, ganun pa rin, ang pagbabasehan nyo lang yung alternative hypothesis niya. So, Not equal sign, so ibig sabihin two-tailed. Greater than, that is right-tailed. At kapag less than, that is left-tailed. Okay? Yan, so balikan natin yung mga examples natin kanina at identify po natin kung ito ba ay two-tailed test or one-tailed test. At kung ito ay one-tailed test, ito ba ay sa left or sa right tail. Okay? So ito po. Ayan. Kung mapapansin nyo, ang alternative hypothesis natin has the symbol of not equal. So ibig sabihin, itong example po na to ay two-tailed test. Next. Ayan. So, yung alternative hypothesis natin is greater than. Kapag greater than, it is one-tailed. At specifically, ito ay right-tailed test. Yan, sa example number 3 natin, ang alternative hypothesis natin contains the symbol of less than. So, ibig sabihin, one-tailed test po siya. At kapag less than po, ibig sabihin, left-tailed siya. So, dito naman, ganun din, less than pa rin yung ating symbol. Ibig sabihin, one-tailed na left-tailed test siya. Ito naman, not equal. Not equal ang ating alternative hypothesis. So, ibig sabihin, two-tailed test siya. Ayan. So, ganun lang kung paano tayo mag-formulate ng ating alternative at null hypothesis. At base sa symbol doon sa inyong alternative hypothesis, we can determine kung ito po ba ay one-tailed test or two-tailed test. Okay? Thank you again for listening. Make sure to hit the notification bell to get updated with our next lessons. Bye!